Welcome to SilverC Review. That could have worked out a little better. This podcast will have an introduction, a movie review, a movie recommendation, jokes and quotes, and an Inside the Intorvert. All the sections will be listed down below with the time, so if you want to skip a section or if you just want to watch a certain section. Were you able to see that? You probably weren't able to see that. Fish jumped out of the water. Feel free to do so. I am in my kayak yet again. It is awesome and glorious. Love kayaking. Couple movies I saw recently. Charlie Brown, giving that one an 8 out of 10. It's the new Charlie Brown. It's still animated, but it's got kind of a different animation style. And it's really good. It's got a great ending, a great message, and it's a good movie, so I really liked it. It's in my collection. Deep Blue Sea 2, 2 out of 10. I liked the first one, not enough to put it in my collection. And this one was along the lines of those kind of like Sharknado type movies that come out. That's what I tend to compare everything to. I actually hate Sharknado. I can't even watch a full Sharknado movie. I can't stand them that much. But they're kind of like parody movies, but not really. They're just like super cheap action movies. I hope they're cheap because they're terrible. But I definitely wasn't expecting much after watching the trailer. And personally, I would say don't waste your time. I don't know, like, I wouldn't say I wasted my time watching the movie. Like, it's not that I want my time back or anything like that. But I don't know, unless you watch a trailer and you're like, I think I could be slightly entertained, and I wouldn't even bother. Started watching The Magicians, which is a TV series, and it's kind of a random thing, but I just thought I'd bring it up. It's really good. It's got good special effects, and I like the storyline so far. I'm only like 4 episodes in, but it's good so far. So, and I didn't know it was even a thing, and I guess they've got like 3 seasons. I was in a store that had merchandise from TV series, and this was one of the things that they had merchandise for, and I was like, what is that? And it's good. So if you like TV series, I'd recommend checking it out. It's on Netflix. I got to go watch Ready Player One in the $4 movie theater, and I was kind of surprised. Even on the big screen, I still missed a lot of stuff. Like, there's times where I just need to pause the movie to be able to see everything that's on the screen because there's so much going on. It's hard to try to focus. Like, when he comes out of when he first enters the world, and it's got all the different characters coming out of that little place that they come out of, like one of the main hubs to enter the game. There's so many things I want to see, and another one would be like in the battle scene. I could probably pause it and just look at all the cool stuff. So even on multiple watches, what was I trying to say? I was trying to combine walkthrough and watches, so I was going for like watch through. Even on multiple watches, I'm still going to miss stuff, so this movie is almost one where you have to pause it to be able to see all the neat things that are going on. I have a hard time, even if I've seen it, not focusing on the main character and trying to look at all the little things that I might miss. I notice a lot of things, but when I'm watching a movie, not so much. I don't know why. And you might hear some road noise. I'm approaching the bridge that I started the very first video I did kayaking. It's still a ways off, but the sound travels quite a distance over the water, so might be able to hear some vehicles and stuff. Anyways, at the end of the year, I'm pretty sure I discussed splitting the podcast into 2, and one podcast will be the movie review and movie recommendation, and then the other podcast will be like the introduction. Well, I might do like a slight introduction and just talk about some movies I've seen recently, and then the other video will be the main introduction. So if there's anything that is going on with the podcast or anything like behind the scenes, it'll go in that video. And it'll also have my jokes and quotes and Inside the Introvert. And I am planning on buying a SoundCloud subscription, but I'm probably you probably, if you wanted to have a different name, I haven't looked into it, but it makes sense that if you want to have a different name, you're going to have, I'm trying to make my shadow block the lens because I think it's better. I wonder where the shade went. Here's some shade. It would make sense that you can only have like one name, like you can't have two different podcasts under one subscription. So I'll probably keep both podcasts on the SoundCloud under SilverC Review, but I'll probably create a different Twitter and a different YouTube for, and I'm just going to leave it as Inside the Introvert. I did like a Google search. I didn't notice anyone really using that sort of title. Like I saw some blogs or like articles that would say Inside the Introvert, but not anything that was specifically titled that. So that's what I'm going to leave the name of the second half of my podcast is just going to be called Inside the Introvert, and it'll have a different YouTube channel and a different Twitter, but for a while at least, SoundCloud will be the same as SilverC Review, but I'll say that in each video that I do. Anyways, that's going to be it for the introduction. We're going to talk about blockers. Going to give this one a 4 out of 10, borderline 5 out of 10. And there is going to be spoilers, so if you haven't seen the movie and you don't want it spoiled, go see it before you listen to this or watch this. I was kind of hoping this movie might be like Game Night, but it was not nearly as good as Game Night. It wasn't bad, though. I mean, I definitely recommend watching it once. Recommend watching it once. It's not a waste of time, but it's definitely not anywhere close to being in my collection, and it's, like I said, it's a borderline 4 out of 10, 5 out of 10, like right there at the edge, maybe a 4.5 if I did fractions, or a, what? Oh yeah, I'm still doing out of 10. I'd have to do out of 20 if I went higher. Anyways, but it's like right there. So anyways, it's a kind of a boring opener to it, like a little montage of the kids growing up, and it wasn't, I don't know, it wasn't funny, and it wasn't a whole lot of action going on in it, and it's kind of like, well, this is boring. I definitely saw the joke with it being his daughter's underwear, and he thought it was his wife's underwear, and he was putting it in his mouth and stuff. I saw that coming from a mile away. They've done that joke more times than I can count, and I don't know why they continue doing it, but it was not funny. Do candles really make people horny? Like, I might need to invest if that's true. Like, I didn't know that was even a possibility. But she references it. It was funny when he said, when she says, just call me, and he's like, I've been calling you. It doesn't work. It's not effective. I thought that was great. I'm going to call... I'm terrible because I don't know the actors' names, and I have to just kind of reference the people I'm talking about, but... So you've got the group of three. You've got John Cena. I'm going to call him John Cena through this whole thing. I don't know what his name was in the movie. You've got the lady that was one of the parents, and then you've got the other parent, and I'm just going to call him the bio dad because he's technically the biological father for the daughter. So, for reference, if I say bio dad, that's who I'm talking about. And bio dad starts out being a jerk, and I mean, he is just like the lowest form of person, just terrible. And I kind of feel like they go a little too hard on that because they, later in the movie, he kind of softens up a little bit, but it's very hard to believe because of how much of a terrible person he is at the beginning of the movie. It's kind of weird that John Cena is so close to that one lady that's not his wife. Like, at one point in the movie, in the beginning, I was watching it with someone, and I had to ask the person, I was like, she's not his wife, is she? It's the other lady. And the person was like, yeah, it's not her. I was like, that's weird that he was... I mean, I know he wanted to be friends with her, and that kind of gets talked about later in the movie, but it was just strange. Like, it was acting like because he was in her house and sitting beside her constantly, and just very weird. Kind of a weird relationship. It was funny when she says, I'm swimming in a pool of lies. It reminded me of Ron Burgundy. I'm in a glass case of emotion. I know they're two completely different things, but that's what I thought of as soon as I heard that. Is it really possible to push down an electric window as it's being rolled up? I mean, I would say if it is possible, John Cena would probably be the person to do it, and his muscle was he was definitely putting a lot of force into pushing that down, whether it was real or not, but it was pretty cool if it was. It was pretty hilarious, the kids having sex in the vehicle as he's trying to persuade them not to go in there. I mean, the vehicle is just rocking, going crazy. I thought that was funny. Those LED shoes that kid has, those were incredible. Like, I would love to have a pair of those. And if I had more money, I'd be like, hey, look it up online. I could probably find a pair, but I'm not sure when I would ever use them. Because I don't walk places that would be easy to use something like that, especially at nighttime. My city's not overly safe at nighttime, so I don't do a whole lot of nighttime walks. The main combo of parents in this movie is a little weird. Like, I don't know, they just don't really have a whole lot of chemistry together as actors. I mean, it's not terrible, but I've definitely seen a lot better combinations. I keep wanting to say threesome. I'm trying to avoid that. I've seen a lot better combinations of three people that, groups of three people that work together better than these people. I mean, I know they're just kind of thrown together, but this is the movie, so I felt like the actors didn't do a whole real good job being together, playing off of each other, but not terrible. I was kind of hoping Biodad wasn't going to be a part of the movie. Like, when he was introduced and when they kind of start finding out what the kids' plans are, I was like, I could kind of see that he might be part of it. I was like, man, I really hope that he's not. He was such a terrible person in the first of the movie that I immediately wanted him just out of the movie. Like, I was like, he's not funny, he's just being mean, and I could do without him being in this movie, and all of a sudden he's one of the main characters in the movie. But, I mean, it wasn't, like I said, I feel like he went too crazy at the first of the movie because it wasn't nearly as bad. Like, later on in the movie, I was like, this isn't so bad. Like, I kind of regret hoping that he wasn't going to be a main part of it. This is really cool. I want to go on this side. I don't know if I can. I think I can. Look at this growing here. It looks neat. My camera's kind of turned. See it behind me? I can't really get close to things with the camera. I guess I could turn it as I'm going by it. Whoop, I'm gonna go up on it. There, you're getting a close perspective of this plant that just looks cool. Whee! Okay. This movie definitely has some pretty good laughs throughout the entire movie. I mean, for being a comedy, it's not terrible. The butt-chugging scene was definitely hilarious. The whole scene, everything about it was very funny. So, I really liked that entire scene. Did we really have to make her being a lesbian a major focal point of the movie? Like, I get it. Like, you guys don't have to reference it every single time this character is brought up. Like, I know. And I mean, it wasn't like trying to line up a big joke at the end. I know it was kind of the character's story to try to get with the other girl, but, like, did they have to make it so obvious that she was a lesbian? Like, I know that you're attracted to that one girl, but when she kissed the guy and she's like, it just, so many things were going on that they had to point that she was a lesbian that it kind of was distracting. Like, I know you heard that. Like, it's great they're putting them in movies and that they are main characters and stuff, but you don't need to focus that much on it. It just gets annoying. Distracting. The music was perfect when everyone was puking in the limo. That was great. Although, it was kind of weird that she came out the sunroof and puked on the car behind her. I mean, it felt intentional. Like, there's no reason that you would puke straight behind the vehicle. That's where the trunk is. If anything, you're going to puke to the side, because that's where you might actually get it away from the vehicle. Like, obviously, if you puke behind, first of all, I'm not sure if you can even projectile vomit far enough to hit the car behind you, but second, that just doesn't seem logical. I don't care if you are throwing up. Oh, crap. Sorry, there's a log. There's a big gar. Too bad we can't see any snakes. So, I didn't care for that. And also but the music was good for that scene, at least. The car standing on its end was not very funny and not very realistic. I mean, this whole movie's pretty much realistic, so that was kind of weird that they did that. Like, I can understand them doing something like that if it's just hilarious, but it wasn't even funny. So, not really sure why they did that. The naked, blind, tag, catch, whatever scene was hilarious. Everything about it. From the characters involved to the ending to it, and it was just great. So I loved that scene. It was very good. My old dad's story when he's talking about what all happened with him being considered a cheater and everything like that, I couldn't believe it. Like, literally, it was not a believable story to me. With how bad of a person he was at the beginning of the movie, and even throughout the movie, he seemed less bad, but it felt very fake that he was all of a sudden having this confession. And I don't know, like, if that happens to you, so what? Like, you don't have to get mad at the world and be this super negative person that's mean to everybody and be out of your child's life, and I don't know. It just did not seem believable that he was suddenly turning a new leaf and wanted to be this nice person, and that it wasn't his fault that the cheating happened, or that it technically wasn't cheating. The three storylines between the kids and the adults are decently tied up at the end. I don't have any major problems with them. I couldn't really figure out in this movie who the main characters were, if it's the parents or if it's the kids. I mean, I felt like it focused on the parents more, and I wasn't sure if they were supposed to be the main characters, or if all six of them were considered main characters, or what, but that was kind of weird, so I wasn't sure who to root for. Like, am I rooting for the kids to figure out what to do in life, or am I rooting for the parents to figure out how to handle their kids, or what? It was more confusing than I expected it to be. The very last joke, totally got me. Like, not the very last. Technically, the very last wasn't a joke, it was a scene. But the scene before that, when they make it seem like they're going to start doing drugs and the parents are going to start chasing after them, I was like, really? They're going to end the movie this way and set it up for a possible sequel? This movie does not need a sequel, and it drives me nuts when, like Game Night, that was a problem with Game Night. They ended it by making it to where it looked like they were about to be robbed again. And I can't stand when movies end like that. Like, I don't need you to try to set up a sequel unless we already know there's going to be a sequel, like a trilogy or something like that. And then for it to be a joke, I was like, oh, you got me, I'm not even in the movie and you got me. So that was pretty good. I was almost angry. I was angry, and then it was like, oh, nope, not angry anymore. But the very last scene, they just had to show John Cena naked, right? And which I'm not sure it was actually him walking, because it just cuts down to his waist when it shows him, his backside naked, but it definitely shows him without a shirt, so I wonder if John Cena was like, I need to be without a shirt in this movie. And it wasn't a bad scene, but it wasn't overly funny for an ending or anything like that. But that's going to be it for Blockers. 4 out of 10. We're going to go on to the movie recommendation. This is going to be Captain Ron, a 1992 movie. And I referenced Captain Ron in one of my previous videos. This is a very funny movie. It's a very fun movie, too. I love the introduction music to this movie. I've actually got it on my CD out in my car. It's kind of like it's about not taking life too seriously and just going with the flow of things, and more often than not, things do not work out, and but that's fine, that's okay. And I mean, that's what, if anyone asked me to describe my life in a short sentence, it would be everything did not go as planned, and that's okay. I mean, that's what life is, and it's us just trying to make it through it, and that's what this movie's about. It's just kind of, I guess you consider it a comedy, but it's really good. The description is, when mild-mannered Martin finds out he has inherited a vintage yacht, he decides to take the family on a Caribbean vacation to retrieve the vessel. Upon arriving on a small island and realizing the ship is in rough shape, Martin and his family end up with more than they bargained for, as this roguish Captain Ron signs on to sail the boat to Miami. It doesn't take long before Ron's anything-goes antics get the Harveys into plenty of trouble. And just like it says, he's kind of a, doesn't really care, lets anything go, kind of to the extreme that he doesn't care. Like, there's some things you kind of need to care about. And, of course, the family's very normal, I guess. And they just get into all sorts of adventures, and he's being chased by people that he owes money to, and it's neat. So definitely check it out. Captain Ron. Gonna go into the jokes and quotes. Let's see how long it takes me to unlock my phone. Not very long. You know, women call me ugly, but it's not until they find out how much I make. Then they call me ugly and poor. How do you make ants hallucinate? You give them antacid. Alright. Quotes. Admire someone's beauty without questioning your own. This one is very, very good to do, but not overly easy to do. Which, this is one thing in life my mom asks me all the time. She'll ask me if I get jealous of people, and if I'm envious of people. And I never have been. Like, it's impossible to know someone else's life. Like, unless you're there, living through it with them, by their side, essentially married to them, you're not going to know what all goes on. And obviously they're not going to show you all the crap they go through. They're going to try to make their life seem as good as possible. So if I see someone with a really nice car, or with a really nice looking wife, or what's something else, a nice house, a nice boat, something like that, I've never been envious of them, because I have no clue what their life is like. I live a very happy life, and I don't have the best of everything, but it's still very nice. So I can admire what they have without wanting it myself. Like, it would be nice if I had that, but at the same time, I'm very glad for them to have it, and it's still beautiful. Like, there's a lot of things in this world that are beautiful that other people have that you don't, and you may like to have it, but at the same time, you can just admire it without having to be envious. So that's the point of that quote. Laughter is the difference between what happens and what you expected. And kind of like we were just talking about, life never goes the way you expect. And that's oftentimes a good thing, because it can be funny, and if you try not to be negative about it and just accept that it is what it is and laugh about it, oftentimes it's funny. I mean, there was one time I was on vacation a couple states over, and ended up hitting an animal, a dog. And I thought everything was fine. I certainly wasn't, well, I thought everything was going to be okay. And we just kept going, and all of a sudden my check engine light came on, and turned out he busted my radiator. And I had to pull over and get towed into another big city that, like I said, we were on vacation, so we were traveling. And my car doesn't have, even though it's a 2009, it doesn't have electric locks. So I locked the doors and stuff and then get out of the vehicle. Well, when I got the vehicle on the tow truck, I had my keys in it because I had put it in neutral, and I forgot to, right around that corner is where the bridge is that I was at last time, so there should be like a rapid over there. Anyways, I forgot to take my keys out of the ignition, and I had locked the door. So I locked my vehicle with my only key on top of the tow truck. So he ended up having to, like, it was in park, so he had to angle it, and he would back up and then jerk forward and literally just slowly scoop my vehicle off. And then I oh, we couldn't get in the car to get any of our luggage or anything like that. Luckily, I had my wallet on me, so we could get it a hotel room. But so we couldn't get any of our stuff until the next day when I had them tow it to a dealership, so that way I could get my key. They had to remake a key based on my VIN number. So, but at this point, it was just comical. It was like, what else can possibly go wrong? Like, I wasn't angry. We had planned an extra day into our vacation, and that's all it cost us, so that wasn't a bad thing. So, it was just kind of funny to, it's like, really, did all this stuff really go wrong? Oh, there's cattle in the water. Let's go see some cattle. Should tell you the location on that. Dirty one. And anyways, sometimes you have to just sit back and laugh. It doesn't do any good to be bitter about it, and what's happened happened, so it's not nearly what I expected, but it was funny, and it makes for a good story. When I tell the story, I try not to be negative about it. It was just funny. It's part of life. So that's going to be it for that. Inside the Introvert section. So there's a lady at work that I'm good friends with. She's like my grandma's age, and we walk around the building about a mile every other day, every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. And on Fridays, we do 4 laps instead of 3. And I like her because she's a spitfire. Like, she's not afraid to stand up for what she thinks and says whatever's on her mind and stuff like that, within reason. And but anyway, she was giving me grief the other morning about she had baked a bunch of banana bread muffins, and I was going to take one of them to eat, and she tried giving me a whole bunch of them, and she said share them with my friends. And I said, I don't have any friends besides you. And she was like, what are you saying you don't have friends? And threw a big deal about it and got real loud, and all the people around her were laughing, which was fine. I didn't really mind. I'm used to that. But then she came over where I was sitting, and the person that sits across from me, she's probably the closest thing I would have to being a friend at work, because I worked with her at Walgreens, and she's my age. I went to high school with her as well. But she's just not a friend. Like, not someone I would consider a friend. Like, I've never talked to her outside of work. I'm going to back up. Oh, they see me now. That way you can see the cattle as well. But anyways, it's not, I wouldn't consider her a friend. Like, she never tries to include me in anything after work, or if we do costumes at work. She's really a really good artist, and she does really neat designs, and she's never included me in any of that stuff. So not someone I would consider a friend. But anyway, she came over and she said, well, what about her? Is she not your friend? I was like, why are you putting me on the spot? Obviously, I'm not going to say, no, she's not my friend, because she was like, I'm Jeremy's friend. And people have such a loose definition of what a real friend is. And so I was like, well, I said, I didn't realize she was back from vacation, because it was the first day she was back from vacation. Am I scaring them too bad? But I had to essentially lie, and just because to get out of that awkward situation, I gave her grief about it later. I said, will you not put me on the spot like that? And I said, she's not someone I would consider a friend. I said, I didn't lie to you when I said I didn't have any friends here. And she said, well, co-workers. I said, yeah. I said, workmates, co-workers, whatever you want to call them. Like, I like them. It's not that I don't like them, but I said I wouldn't consider them my friends. And she said, well, I guess I just worded it wrong. I was like, yes. Wonder how close I can get to them without, I hope you can see them, without spooking them. I think I blocked the cows the entire time. So, hopefully you can see them. So anyways, I'm back. It goes back so far when it runs. I think it stops my video, and it doesn't close the shutter until like a minute or two after it stopped the video. So when it does shut off after being 30 minutes, it goes so far back. So I have to go back and re-say what I just said. I'm close to being done. I'm talking too much, or going on too many tangents. I've got something really big coming up, and I am super nervous. It's in about 2 weeks, and it's not that I can't say what it is, but I don't want to say what it is, but it is big, and it's actually something happened last week, or this week, earlier this week, and it went as good as it possibly could, and I've got a lot of advanced knowledge, and this should be very, very smooth, but I'm still super nervous. I mean, there could be something that goes wrong. It probably won't take very long, but every single day that it gets closer to it, I get more and more nervous. Even though I know it's probably going to be fine, that's a very introverted thing. The last thing is there's a game called Kubb. It's Kubb. It's kind of like a mix between, it's a Swedish game, kind of a mix between horseshoes and bowling. You've got all these wooden pier things, like squares, and you have to throw these little wooden batons and knock them over, and it's got some kind of in-depth rules, which it's not, once you get to playing it, it's not that bad. It's easy to understand, but if you try just explaining it to somebody, there's so many rules, and it sounds so complicated that it's very hard to explain. So I was really hoping, I had only been shown the game once, we played it once, and I was hoping during our fun day, because I'm on the committee, that I wouldn't have to run that game. Nope, all 2 hours of it, I was having to run that game. I was like, out of all the places, and the other person that ran it was the person that brought it, that came up with it. So I was like, out of my entire committee, you picked me to run the one thing I don't want to do. But it wasn't too bad. I didn't have any overly introverted moments. Whenever I'm the person that's, I know all the rules, I'm the only one that knows the rules, and I have to be like a leader in that moment, I'm pretty good at stepping up and being kind of extroverted and telling people the rules and helping them out and stuff like that. So it was all right, but I did forget one rule, and one of the people that's on like the subcommittee that knew about this game kind of stopped by and were like, "Are you not doing it?" I was like, "Oh crap, I forgot about that." So, but it wasn't like game changing or anything like that. It just made them go a little bit faster, which I think we only played like 2 or 3 because it takes a long time. But not too bad. Just it was kind of ironic that I got the one thing I was really hoping I wasn't going to get. And of course I got to help set up and take down everything for the event because most of the committee just kind of took off after it ended. Which 3 hours to be away from your work is a long time. My work's easy and could probably be automated, so I can get away with more time away from my desk without it impacting me as much as others. But that's going to be it for this episode. If you want to see all my older videos, they're on YouTube. You can stream them on there, or you can download the MP3 on onlinevideoconverter.com. All my new videos, or all my new episodes, MP3 is going to be on SoundCloud. They stay on there for about a month. And if you want me to review a movie, just comment somewhere. It doesn't matter where, YouTube, SoundCloud. I've also got Twitter. And just let me know what you want to hear me review, and I'll do it. And if you want to see cool nature pictures and like Photoshop pictures, check out Flickr, SilverC_review. And that's going to be it. Take care.